impossible. But this afternoon, I want to talk to you today about letting go. Because there are moments in our lives where people come in, they enter for a season, and then they move on. Or we may enter individuals' lives for a season, and it's time for us to move on. And then there are times where we encounter people who are meant to be in our lives for a lifetime. They're lifelong friends, lifelong soulmates, if you will. But you got to discern the difference. You got to discern those individuals who are supposed to be in our life for a lifetime versus those who are supposed to be in our life for a season. And be careful not to mix up seasonal people with lifelong expectations. We encounter individuals, we develop these relationships because they are necessary for our survival. It's part of our purpose. It's part of our this fabric of humanity where we are interconnected with each other in different ways for different reasons. And once those reasons have come to fruition, we have to know when it's time to move on, to let go. And I think what hurts the most in those moments is the expectation that we lose part of ourselves that we never think we'll get back. And we do. We do lose a part of ourselves when we allow people into our sacred space who then leave, especially when it's unexpected. We do lose a part of ourselves. But that part of ourselves can heal and become whole again if it's meant for those individuals to be in our lives for a season. We have to discern and use wisdom and know when to let go, especially when it becomes an unhealthy relationship. We can fall in love so easily and not even know the person. We learn after the fact who they are. And then it's hard to not love them. It's hard to let them go. Even when they're killing us, killing our spirit, killing our emotions, where we can't even, we just become a shell of our former selves. And I can relate to this, in my past relationships where I forgot who I was and totally became someone else. We all have within us goodness. We all have within us the desire to be kind, to love, to empathize, to be sensitive. It's within all of us, because we're all connected. So what I do to you affects me, and what you do to me affects you. It should. But that's where our conscience comes in. And unfortunately, some have, through their own life experiences, have developed this hardness where it's hard to empathize or be sensitive when someone's hurting and when we've caused that hurt, that pain. We become callous. We become insensitive. And part of that comes from the hurt that we just have learned to live with instead of facing it and dealing with it and becoming whole. We walk through our lives broken. And then we never develop the tools to be able to heal, to be able to relate to other people who may also be broken. We just think, well, that's just the way it is. That's just who I am. And then we get into these relationships, in some cases with good people, with good intentions. And we sabotage. We sabotage. We purposely cause arguments because we think that they're going to leave us when they find out who we really are. And the thought of that pain recurring is too much for us to bear. So we push people away who become close to us, too close. And it becomes a very toxic relationship. But I just want to share this afternoon that, this life is a mystery. There's so many unanswered questions. There's so many things that happen in our lives, and we ask why. And sometimes we get the answers and sometimes we don't. Sometimes we have to live without the answers. Sometimes we have to live without closure. One of the things I think that's the most difficult for people letting go is the fact that they think they need closure. Without closure, and they force it. They force the discussion, the conversation. They force the answers. And sometimes there is no answer. Sometimes it just can't be explained why. It just is. Sometimes we will get closure. Sometimes you can talk through things and work through things and then say goodbye. And other times, it's not possible. It becomes even more unhealthy, pushing for closure when it's time to let go. And sometimes you have to live with the questions. And I'm talking from personal experience. I was in a very, very unhealthy relationship for a long time. And I just ignored the signs. I ignored the red flags. I just thought that things would work out. We love each other. Or so I thought. It's got to work out. We love each other. We're not going to, whatever this is, we'll pass. But looking back now, I realize that I think I probably loved more. It was an unequal love. And when love is unequal, when you love someone more than they love you, they have the power. And they know it. And they'll use that power to benefit themselves. And then once they're finished getting what they want out of you, they'll just let you go. And you won't understand why, because you thought there was love there. There was, you thought that there was more, that you were stronger than this challenge that you were facing. And yet it seems as though this challenge has now pulled you apart. And that's because the love was never equal. We grow, that love develops and matures through experiences that are enriching, through experiences that are not positive and negative, because love can grow even through negative experiences. Because we learn and we grow and we do better. And everyone makes mistakes. We don't intentionally mean to hurt people that we love, but it happens. And we need feedback when it happens. And if the person really cares, they will change. They will not repeat the same behavior. And that's a red flag. If you've made it clear that something is hurting you, that the other person is doing, and they continue to do it, then that's not love. That's not love. If they really love you, then they will change. They will not do the same behaviors that are hurting you. They will try to do better. And if they can't, then they'll get help. They'll get therapy and try to work through the issues. Because some of this stuff, most of it's stemming from childhood experiences, damage caused in our childhood that we have learned to live with, that often is dormant and becomes manifest through triggers in relationships that, you know, we didn't even think were there. And all of a sudden we're acting and saying and feeling things that we just don't realize, don't understand. It's because of that latent, those suppressed childhood trauma, or even trauma in our adulthood that we have suppressed, where things are now triggering, and we begin to act and feel differently towards individuals. But if there is love, if there's a real bond, real connection, then you can work through those things. And if there isn't, then you have to decide when it's time to let go. And letting go for your own survival, your own health and well-being, and for theirs. You know, I'm not trying to do a video to make you depressed. I'm actually wanted to share this with you because I want you to feel empowered. I want you to know that what you're feeling is normal, you know, and that you are strong enough and wise enough to be able to let go. You know, when that energy becomes something that's bringing you down and not lifting you up, it's time to let go. When you begin to question your purpose because it doesn't align with their expectations and their truth, but you know it's who you are, you know it's what makes you happy, but you ignore your happiness for someone else's, it's time to let go. When you get to a point where you wake up and are living for others and at the expense of your own happiness, and they're not pouring into your happiness, but you are giving and pouring more into theirs, it's time to let go. When you are at a point in your life with someone that is being verbally abusive, they're making mountains out of molehills. Every little thing, it becomes an issue. It's like they're deliberately trying to pick a fight because they want to push you away. They want to say it's your. They want you to leave so they can say it's your fault that this didn't work out. Instead of them speaking their truth and saying, I'm sorry, this is not working for me, they're trying to put the blame on you so you can walk away and they can feel better. They don't have to feel guilty. When that is going, it's time to let go. You know, and so maybe you're living this experience right now. You know, there's a whole life waiting for you of happiness, of joy, of peace. You don't have to live every day traumatized, in chaos and confusion. That is not how our lives are supposed to be. And you have to find the strength within yourself, and it's there to let go. You know, I was that individual bringing the chaos and confusion and madness in a relationship that I did not want to let go of. And the other person had to be the stronger person to let go, while I was still trying to hold on to something that was never meant to be. And it hurt me to the core because I'm not used to failing. I'm not used to, you know, just giving up. I didn't know how to let go. But she did. And it happened. And it devastated me. But looking back now, I realize it was the best thing that ever happened in my life. I would not be the man that I am today. I would not be sharing this video and speaking my truth to you in the way that I am today had I not had that experience. So I hope my message today has given you some thought, has helped you to realize that your life matters, you matter. And let the rest of your years, whatever time left that you have on this earth, be fruitful. Be extraordinary. Because you are extraordinary. You are an extraordinary person who should have extraordinary experiences that bring you joy, happiness, peace. You are not mean. You're not evil. You are kind. You are able to love and be loved. Don't you ever think that you're helpless or hopeless because of past mistakes that you can't do anything about now, except to apologize, take responsibility, learn from it, and do better going forward. You know, you deserve a happy life. You deserve to be with people who make you happy, who help you to evolve into a greater version of yourself. You deserve that. And so I hope this video has helped you understand, who you are, and to guard your sacred space. Be careful who you allow into your sacred space, because once that connection's made, it's going to take you on a journey that'll either be a healthy one or an unhealthy one. Choose life that's fulfilling. Choose a life that brings you happiness, and also where you can bring happiness to others. Choose those relationships where there's an equal exchange. Where you are giving and receiving as much in return. I thank you so much for listening. And you are amazing. You have an amazing life before you. Start living it now. Thank you so much. And I hope we talk again very soon. Take care.